Okay, so let's talk about these. Hummingbirds, they'll abandon their young if food is scarce. So what are their allocation priorities? Do they prioritize growth, maintenance, or reproduction first? And hopefully you can see that if they are choosing to abandon their young, then they're choosing maintenance or maybe even growth, but maintenance over top of reproduction. They would rather survive to the next round than reproduce. And so this obviously suggests, because remember, the name of the game is reproduction and having babies, this would suggest that they are likely to have more rounds of breeding because they do eventually want to breed, right? And so they probably get more chances to breed. In the second one, we've got the two rivers. One of them has a predatory fish and one of them doesn't. And so what do you think will happen to the age of reproduction in the river where there is a predatory fish? Well, if there's predators, then we've got pressure, right, that we may not survive to the next round. And so you would expect that these fish would want to reproduce earlier. And now, again, it's not want, right? They're not wanting to reproduce earlier. Those that do reproduce earlier pass on those genes, right? Because the other ones are dying because they're getting eaten. And so you would expect that age to go down. This one was the two rivers. One is spring fed and stays really lush. The other one dries out in periodic and random intervals. And so which one would have more species with reproductive cycles that repeat? And obviously the one that is more stable, right? So again, this is a measure of stochasticity. The environment on the right is highly stochastic. And so you're going to have less likelihood of repeated reproductive cycles. And so the organisms would likely breed young, breed lots of offspring, and then because their chances of living to another round are low. And then the last one, in times of stress, mice will eat their young. So again, this is a prioritizing maintenance over reproduction. And so this is where they likely have multiple opportunities to breed, and so they will make that priority. And again, though, we have to think about they're not making a conscious decision to do this, right? You're seeing that mice who do eat their young and abandon are more likely to survive to the next round and reproduce. Mice that don't, and then food gets scarce or times of stress, they don't end up passing any genes on. So it's not a conscious choice, it's a behavior that's in the genetics that gets rewarded with increased reproduction. I think that's it.